All right, what's going on? We back. Goodfella Sports TV. Motor City Sports Talk. Grinding on both channels. Boy CJ Goodfella. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Blessings to the brothers and sisters out there supporting the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Let me check audio. Make sure everything good. Appreciate everybody. Good, we good, man. Kind of want to get into the Piston wrap up show real quick. I'm not gonna be on long. And talk a little bit about you know you know what the Pistons should do going forward. Excuse me. Yeah, obviously fans gonna have the Godson 313 salute. Obviously, fans gonna have their perception of what they think the NBA is, or what they think the Pistons should do. Let's talk about the season a little bit. At one point, they lost like what 12, 13, 15, 100,000 games straight. First half of the season was pretty much Blake Griffin, carrying the squad. And he burnt all his energy out. He really wasn't getting consistent help from Dre. That's one thing what's wrong with Andre Drummond, and that's what kind of separate a good player from an all-star from a superstar. It's consistency. You know what I'm saying? Trey, what's going on? It's a consistency, man. And Reggie Jackson, they tried to turn him into a pure point. He got mad. You know what I'm saying? He got mad and want to play and quit on the team because they wanted him to facilitate. Detroit Way, salute the super chat. Appreciate it, family. They wanted him to be more of a point. That didn't fit his role. Reggie more of a two anyway. His mentality is a two. He got the size to play the two, but it's kind of a pride thing for them dudes not to want to take over the point guard, to give up the point guard position. That's what Oklahoma City Thunder about to do next year with Russell Westbrook, or at some point. But that's just what it was, man. It wasn't a ton of talent on this team. Glenn Robinson, he was hurt. Ish was hurt. And he definitely improved his offensive game this year. He was shooting the ball better. Um, so I mean, this team just never had a chance, and that's what I kind of alluded to in the offseason before the season, that they should have went with Ime Udoka, tore it down, built it up with a young coach, and then move forward. But a lot of people say when Dre and Reggie Jackson and Blake all played, they had this amazing record. Remember when Blake got here, he got injured. Reggie got injured last year as well too. Andre Drummond is the most durable player that the Pistons really have amongst they known players. Very durable. Zaza, he was pretty solid this year. You don't expect Zaza to come in and give you 20 and 10, 10 and 10. He filled in. He missed a lot of bunnies and he filled in the way he should have. But just trying to think of all the players. Luke Kennard came in the season. What's going on, Renardo? To a salute. Daryl Jones says you can't bring back Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. Sean, what's going on? So you can't, in my opinion, before I get to that, but I'm just thinking about the players. Luke Kennard, he was hurt, knee. Never, this wasn't the same. And then he just don't play with that aggressiveness that he once had, man. So that he should. I ain't gonna say he had. He didn't play with aggressiveness, man. So just thinking. Bruce Brown, amazing on defense. Love him on defense. Offensively, he gotta be able to be more aggressive. He gotta be able to be like Ben Simmons a little bit, at least have an inside game. But in today's game, you gotta have a jumper. But he's not even confident with a floater or finishing at the rack. So, you ideally want to start inside out. So he gotta end up getting him a Tony Parker type of game, floater, mid range jumper, little 10-footer off the glass. Elbow shot. He can master the mid range and interior. I think he'd be all right. But he gonna be huge if the Pistons trying to continue to build this on the fly. Kyrie Thomas, we want to see more of him. Obviously, they didn't feel that he was ready yet. We traded old boy from Marquette to the Knicks. He kind of produced for the Knicks a little bit. Um, Lure ain't do nothing, paid him all that money. He ain't do shit. He supposed to be a shooter, and then he couldn't even get on the floor this year. So pretty much, I'm trying to think about everybody that I can. But that's pretty. Oh, Wayne Ellington came in. He provided a little bit of spark. He provided some shooting. He wasn't gonna come save the team though. Just thinking about him, but he provided some shooting. And for the most part, this team just don't have enough talent. Okay, they gave up, and somebody hit me up on Twitter and got mad because I said they should move Blake to Miami. They said, no, nah, I ain't moving Blake unless we get an All-Star. And I'm just looking at it like, did you give up an All-Star to get Blake? Because I don't think that I don't think Tobias Harris ever made an All-Star team before, while he was in Detroit. Who else did we trade over there? Avery Bradley. I don't think he made an All-Star team. Um, Shazen, Gillensley Alexander. Maybe in the future he was a draft pick. Maybe he make an All Star team in the future. It's hard to make it in the West, but shit changed. I don't think Steph Curry gonna have a long shelf life in the NBA with his ankle. So maybe he can squeeze in there. Some things happen. Conley come East. Maybe in the near 3, 4, 5 years, he might can make an All Star team. But Boban, he didn't make an All Star team. Boban and Tobias Harris didn't even make it through this season with the LA Clippers. They got moved on. You know what I'm saying? And now they in the 76ers, like they might make the Eastern Conference playoffs. To talk about Kyle Lowry, oh my God, bro. Kyle Lowry make you appreciative that you got fucking Reggie Jackson. Kyle Lowry is garbage, man. Like, golly, at what point do Nick Nurse say, okay, let's bring him off the bench? At one point, do they say, you know what? Let's play Norman Powell at the fucking at his position, but let's let Kawhi and Pascal Siakam handle the ball. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'll be man. Kawhi Leonard already on the bench like shit. I can't wait to get to LA. I can't wait to get to LA. You know what I'm saying? But oh, Andre Drummond. We didn't talk about Drummond. Inconsistent first half of the season, more consistent down the stretch. Problem with Andre Drummond is that he ain't dominant on defense and he ain't dominant on offense. He dominant on the boards. You know, E-Man EC says Tobias never made one. So he dominant on the boards, but he don't dominate defense. And it's times that Andre Drummond look dominant defending. Like he get mad and he didn't make the All-Star game and he played with that grit and that nastiness. Like if he played with that Ben Wallace type of grit and nastiness, Andre Drummond, if he just defended and rebound, I wouldn't mind, Andre Drummond. But he don't play with that toughness or that grit that Ben Wallace played with. Ben Wallace wasn't the most talented. He wasn't physically as agile and gifted as Andre Drummond. But if Drummond ain't gonna develop a post game, at least what Dwight Howard had, or he ain't gonna develop into the dominant defensive player Dwight Howard had, he can't help us. Laura Lindsay wants to say, while the Raptors fired Casey, he made them great. They won 50 games, 4 years, never done that before. You know how that go. He ain't got the complexion for the selection. They want to make old boy Nick Nurse look like the hero. But he out there got Kawhi Leonard playing in garbage time, knowing Kawhi can get injured. Stupid as fuck. He should never brought to Kawhi back in the game. But Andre Drummond don't have a dog in him. And it's cool if you don't have a dog in him. It's a lot of big fellas who don't have a dog in him. Karl Anthony Towns a little pudgy. You know what I'm saying? He a little soft. And that's cool. But you know what? He make up with it with finesse. Andre Drummond don't have no finesse. It's all about his physical ability. He built like an ox. He just ain't developed the post game, and he ain't developed to be dominant defensive. To be a defensive guy, you got to be nasty. You got to be a nasty defensive type guy. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to bring to the table. If you don't have that dog in you, then you got to have that skill that Karl Anthony Towns had. So Rich Smith he wasn't a dog guy. That was Dale Davis. Antonio Davis. Well, Dale Davis for sure played with them. That was I think Antonio played on the Pacers too. But Dale Davis was the gritty, grimy guy. You know what I'm saying? And Rich Smith was the finesse guy. Nice little touch, 10 to 15. He was good enough to get putbacks. Andre Drummond can't even put the ball back. And it's just I don't know what it is with him, but just to look at the whole situation, the season to me was a success by their standards. But a successful season for the Pistons for me, you know what I'm saying? A successful season with the Pistons would have been like we made the playoffs, but we building towards being the 6th seed next year, being the 5th seed, possibly being the 4th seed. You know what I'm saying? They didn't build towards nothing this year. Nobody looking at Detroit like, oh shit, Detroit, Detroit could be special next year. They might upset some things, They might can get in there and be like Indiana. Nobody looking at Detroit. This is the ceiling. Detroit, this is the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? But when you get it, remember Sacramento and they was the 8th seed, and then, but people knew they had promise with Jason Williams, eventually Mike Bibby, Bobby Jackson, Doug Christie, and the rest of those guys. They looked and say, okay, eventually they'd beat her. And eventually they end up meeting the fucking Lakers, for Western Conference supremacy. They built towards that. You know what I'm saying? Just like the going to work Pistons. They didn't go from, you know, of surety under Jerry Stackhouse and them. They kind of built it up, and eventually, we couldn't get past, certain teams. We had to get past the first round, the second round, and then we had to get past New Jersey was our sticking point. New Jersey had dominated the East, even though they got stumped out in the conference in the NBA Finals. But what I'm saying is, like, the Pistons are not building towards nothing. You know what I'm saying? The Pistons are not building. They this is their ceiling with Reggie, Drummond, and Blake taking up 70% of the cap. I'd be nice to say 70% because Drummond making 22, Reggie making about 18, and Griffin making about 30, 33, somewhere near. So the cap was 109 million this year. So they taking up the majority of the cap. So you can't surround it with nothing. And now we're adding Wayne Ellington with a mid-level exception, I think it was. They negative 9.5 million in the hole. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna win a championship with the core of Blake Griffin, Reggie Jackson, or Andre Drummond, and people that want to trade the pick and Reggie Jackson for Mike Conley. Mike Conley is a representative. He represents that, okay, he can get us over the top. If Conley went to the Raptors, I think the Raptors would most definitely go to the NBA Finals. Conley is a guy that if we just need to get right here. Conley can push you over the top at this point in his career. He's very productive. Conley is not going to take an AFC Detroit Piston and make them a threat to Boston, make them a threat to Milwaukee. Shit, he barely might make them a threat to Indiana. And a lot of people don't want to hear this, but Chicago Bulls are built for a better future than the Detroit Pistons. They have more talent than us top to bottom. We have more veteran leadership with Blake Griffin, who had, been on Lob City, grew up in LA. Andre Drummond, he had been to the playoffs before too, just as Andre did. Reggie had been there. We had more veteran leadership, but Chicago is badly managed though. You know what I'm saying? Chicago got bad general manager. They had a horrible coach with Fred Hoiberg. So talent wise, Chicago. If somebody say Chicago, Detroit, a lot of people gonna take Chicago. Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, Lloyd Marketing, Wendell Carter. I mean, they got a lot of great talent, but they not managed well. You see what I'm saying? They not managed well at all. So then again, the only reason you won't take the Detroit Pistons job is because of the cap situation. But as far as all the pieces Chicago got and the top draft pick they got, people pick Chicago, but knowing that the management they got is suck. They got a lot of pieces they can do things with. Denver, ton of pieces they can do things with. Denver playing with house money. Denver is a team that's building towards Western Conference and NBA supremacy. They got the chips to trade for Anthony Davis. If you want to stay in Denver, is the problem. They get Michael Porter Jr. back next year. So those type of teams are building towards championship aspirations. They may not necessarily get the championship, but they building towards there. The Pistons, they don't have no championship aspirations. Blake Griffin can't be your best player on the championship team. Blake Griffin can be your second best player on the Clippers, on the team that had a good team. Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, JJ Redick. That was a really good team. Blake Griffin has shown that he's more like a forward card. When you need him most, he ain't gonna never be reliable. And I said that the Pistons, even East, the Pistons were better tanking. But people say, "Oh, we want to make the play." And I understand the Piston fans wanted to make the playoffs. I definitely understand that with the Lions not making it, the Wings not doing well, the Tigers not doing well. But sometimes you got to take 5 steps forward to take 5 steps back to take 20 steps forward. But pretty much for the season, it was a success by their standards making the playoffs. But how I think of it is, I've been watching the NBA since the 90s. How I think of it as is that it wasn't a success because they're not building towards a championship. They're not building towards a championship. Nothing screams championship aspirations. Nothing screams we're going to threaten Milwaukee. Nothing screams we're going to threaten Boston for the future. Yeah, Toronto going to fall back, but New York or Brooklyn going to come up because what if Kawhi or KD go to Brooklyn? You got to think about that. Toronto going to fall off, but then New York going to come up. What if Chicago get it together? They get Moran, they get Cam Reddish, or they get Zion or something like that. They going to come up. Brooklyn gonna get better, like I said before. Orlando might get better. So you really don't know what's gonna happen, but the Pistons are not building towards a championship. Can Blake Griffin be your best player on a championship team? Absolutely not. Not in this NBA. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, he could. Can Andre Drummond be your second best player on the team? Currently, not right now. If he develop a post game, if he develops some type of identity on defense, nastiness, dog, then possibly, yeah, we talking about it can happen. You know what I'm saying? But real talk with DeWan say, like the 5-year plan, like the Sixers after they let Iggy go. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've been saying that they need a 5-year plan. But at the end of the day, all people do is say, "Oh, you a hater. You don't know what you're talking about." Nigga, I've been watching the NBA for years, nigga. I can reference like NBA basketball is like my main thing, or it used to be. Like I could tell you a lot of things that went down in the '90s. They won't tell you. You know, you go back think about Terrell Brandon. Oh my, if he never got hurt, be one of the best guards. Mark Price, if he never got hurt, one of the best point guards in the NBA. You go back to talking about Tom Gugliotta, man, Malik Sealy, but when he died, I mean, it's a lot of different shits. You know, they don't tell you about. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, it's just a lot of good players that got injured. You know, it's for every Grant Penny, it's a Zaza, it's a Dragan Petrovic. You know what I'm saying? It's a story about Arvinas Sabonis. You know what I'm saying? I ain't like I said before. I done seen championships built and gone. Only teams that could pick up and build a championship like that is Boston and LA, and that's because of the NBA. NBA ain't gonna never let Boston and LA be down for too long. Had Lynn Bias never died, you know, we might be talking about a totally different story about Boston. You know, had he never passed away, it's a lot of what if in the NBA they don't really expose or talk about. You know, Arvidas Sabonis is one of the most talented international big men. If he would have came over to the United States when he was younger, niggas wouldn't have been talking about Dirk Nowitzki in the same vein. And that's no disrespect to Dirk Nowitzki, but nobody would have been talking about Dirk like that. You know, talk about Karl Malone. Karl Malone was the first motherfucker to do the Dirk fadeaway off of one leg. That was Karl Malone's shot, and then they gave it to fucking Dirk Nowitzki. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell you about that shit. They act like Dirk was the innovator of the one leg fadeaway. Fuck up out of here. Karl Malone was doing it, you know. But talk about what the Pistons need to do, because I ain't gonna be on that long. I got some other shit I gotta do. Yeah, no, Sabonis was old when he got to the NBA. When that Russian team, I think had beat the college Olympic team in what, the '80s. When they beat the college Olympic team, Sabonis was one of the best players was considered one of the best players in the world, but he didn't get to the NBA until too late. He was old. I'm talking about the young Sabonis, the one that was shooting threes and he remind you of Jokic. You know what I'm saying? He remind you of a Jokic back in the '80s. You hear people talk about him and Dragan Petrovic. Hopefully, I'm saying his name right. You know what I'm saying? You know, you hear them talk about those guys, man. That what if they would have stayed in the NBA? You know, he said, "What are you talking about? Dirk had a shot. Sabonis did have a shot. What are you talking about? Sabonis can shoot the three. Go back and watch his tape. Sabonis was old. Do you not fucking know about the story of Arvydas Sabonis? You idiot! Like you obviously don't know what the fuck you talking about. Nigga's an idiot. Sabonis didn't get to the NBA till it was too late, for whatever reason it was. But I'm talking about young Sabonis when he was with the USSR, whatever the fucking Russia was called. Sabonis was straight fire. What are you talking about? He could do everything. He just didn't get a chance to go to the NBA till it was too late. He was too fat and chubby when he got there. You know what I'm saying? He would be killing me and don't even know what you're talking about. Don't even know what you're talking about basketball, man. If you shut the fuck up, Brandon, you might learn something. But like I said before, you know, talking about what the Pistons should do. Obviously, they said Miami want him, and it's contingent on taking the Dion. Well, it could be contingent on them taking the Dion Waiters. No, you need to chill, bro. You in the wrong chat talking shit, bro, because you about to get put the fuck out. It just happened that quick. I ain't tolerating it. I ain't got time tonight. Um, hold on. Yeah, get them fuck up out of here. Hold on. Did I block that motherfucker? There we go. Late reaction. but but yeah, man, I ain't got no time. I ain't tolerating no bullshit in this chat tonight, bro. I'm trying to get in and get out. All right. But yeah, we gonna talk about yeah, what they should do moving forward. Really, they should blow it up. Y'all know where I stand. They should blow it up. It's no building. It's no building on the fly when you are 9 million and under 9 million in the hole. 9 million in the hole. Okay, somebody came at me on Twitter saying I'm not trading Blake Griffin unless it's for an All Star. You didn't really trade you didn't trade an All Star for Blake Griffin to begin with. Why is that? Because the Clippers was just willing to get that contract off because they felt they made a mistake. Now look at the Clippers. What position are the Clippers in now? The Clippers are in position to land 2 max players on a really solid team. They add Kawhi to that team, or Durant, or both, or Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here. Get out of here. These dudes a joke. I could do that all night, player. But you put one of those guys on that team. That's a dope team. And the Pistons made that possible. The Pistons made that possible by taking on the Blake Griffin contract. They gave the LA Clippers the relief they needed. The Pistons helped the Clippers become that type of team. The Pistons did that. Had they not took on the Blake Griffin contract, they don't end up with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They don't end up with the cap room they got, 30 million, 40 million in cap. They don't end up with that. They got rid of Boban. They got rid of Tobias' contract. Pistons paid away for the Clippers to go out there and be great. And also, they already in LA. So people want to play in LA. But somebody was telling me their car registration in LA in California, up in the northern California, was $600. Like I'm complaining about paying $400 for car insurance. Here he is paying $600 to register his car. That's crazy. Um but the thing about it, what I would do is just blow it up. MB said let's build around Blake. He's by far the best player on the team. Even when hurt, develop the young players. Pistons won't be a championship team, but they will be a playoff team. Okay, then basically MB is saying that he just wants them to be a perennial playoff team, and that's cool. If that's the 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 goal, if they go just to be competitive and get to the playoffs and be the 8th, 7th, 6th, 15, and I understand your argument. I'm not knocking it because that's what they very well may do. But at the end of the day, Tom Gores is paying 18 million dollars in cap, so he's 9 million in the luxury tax for an FC team. So you look at it that way. Damn, Sean said I paid $550 to register my car. That's crazy. I only paid like $100. Rich money game. Will Reggie get traded? More than likely, because I'll get to Reggie. Give me a second. I'm not gonna be long. He said MB said Blake changed his game. He doesn't rely on. No, that's right. He don't rely on his athletic ability. He really does. I mean, rarely have I seen somebody change their game like that, and um that speaks to his work ethic. He don't rely on jumping that, but at the end of the day, he's still injury prone. And when LA needed him every time, either he was injured or Chris Paul was injured. When the Pistons first got him, he got injured. Last season, they worked the dog walking shit out of him. They worked him. They worked the dog walking shit out of him. And the Pistons should feel partly responsible for Blake Griffin getting injured last year because they didn't give him enough rest days in the first half of the season. And then he was playing, they was losing 10, 13 straight games, whatever it was. And Blake Griffin out there logging 30, 42 minutes. Come on. He was badly managed. Dwayne Casey didn't give him rest days to the end of the season. So I understand they should have maintenance Blake Griffin way better last year. But at the end of the day, you ain't winning a championship with Blake. And everything should be built on winning a championship. You know what I'm saying? That's what it should be on. You may not necessarily get a championship in every decade or every generation, whatever you want to say, of a team. But really, at this point, I will move them. If Miami wanted them and I can get cap space, I will move them. That's just my personal opinion on it. You know what I'm saying? Reggie Jackson, of course, I would move him. He got an attractive contract around 19, 20 million next year. If the Pistons can get, if Pistons can get another star back, maybe maybe they don't like a guy on their team, or they trying to facilitate a deal. That's a that's a 19, $20 million exception, trade exception. If you get Reggie Jackson, that's $20 million of free cap space. So maybe you got some stranglers on the team that they might want to do a side and trade with. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could trade. And this is straight hypothetical. Maybe you could trade Blake Griffin, and you could bring in Andre Drummond, and you could bring in Nikola Vujovic and do a sign and deal trade with the Magic. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could do a sign and trade with the Magic. You never know. Maybe they get tired of Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. They looking for cap space to bring in Kevin Durant to Philly, and they don't re-sign Jimmy, they don't re-sign Tobias, and they're looking to get rid of Joel Embiid. I'm not saying that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the plan for Tom Gores, Ed Stefanowski, and Malik Rose, the plan for them should be, to be honest, is the rebuild. Because you think about it for a minute, and I said it in a couple videos, so I don't know, everybody can't watch every video. But I said it before. The Pistons, when the last time the Pistons rebuilt? Now, I know people gonna say, well, the Pistons can't draft. Ed Stefanowski looking a little bit different. He looked like a more reliable drafter than Joe Dumars. He looked like he knew what he was doing with Bruce Brown, Kyrie Thomas. Now, was that an anomaly, or is that's the narrative, or that's what you're gonna get every time? I don't know if it's an anomaly or that's just gonna be what you get is a good, consistent drafter from Ed Stefanowski. I'm gonna go ahead and say if they giving him this fake interim GM role, whatever this non identified role he got, I'm gonna go ahead and say he can draft. Okay, so how I'm looking at it is, sorry, I got backgrounds. There we go. How I'm looking at it is, build up from the ground up. They try to rebuild by when Ben Wallace left and took the money. They tried to rebuild with Nazi Muhammad. It didn't work. And Antonio Dice, Nazi Muhammad, Chris Webber. And then they tried to bring in Iverson for Chauncey Billups. It didn't work. And eventually they tried to bring in Villanueva, Ben Gordon, Josh Smith. And Josh Smith still was on the payroll last year. They tried to bring in them three. Didn't work. Then how they got to whatever they got to after that, it just didn't work. The Pistons have been trying to build on the fly because they wasn't confident in their drafting abilities. And you go back, Joe Dumars had some nasty misses. Hey, Stan Van Gundy, Jordan Bowers had some nasty misses, but just like the Detroit Lions taking T.J. Hawkinson, you think Bob Quinn worried about? Yeah, Josh Smith still was on the payroll for like $5.5, $6 million last year. But you talking about T.J. Hawkinson? Bob Quinn, when he took Hawkinson, it wasn't a doubt in his mind that, Pettigrew fucked up 18,000 years ago and Ebron fucked up 2 years ago. That wasn't on his mind. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't on his mind. You know what I'm saying? He thinking like, you know what? I believe in this kid's ability. I'm not gonna let my past always dictate my present or my future. So that's how you kind of got to look at it with the Detroit Pistons, okay? Okay, just because Jordan Bowers and Stan couldn't draft and Joe Dumars couldn't draft, don't mean Ed Stefanowski can draft. Who can use Andre Drummond? Really don't know. You can't trade in Oklahoma City because, they don't have no cap, and Steven Adams make a same amount of contract. That's a stupid swap. Adams for Drummond. Why would I do that? Right? So where do you look at a team that got cap that can use Andre Drummond? You look at the Sacramento Kings. You know what I'm saying? They got cap. They can use Andre Drummond, but who do you get back? Do you take on Harrison Barnes' contract, which should be expiring in a couple years? Maybe. Maybe. You look at some other, I don't know all the contracts over there, but maybe Sacramento. What if the Lakers don't get who they're looking for? Maybe you could trade, Blake Griffin over there. Maybe they take him back in LA. So you really don't, I don't know exactly where they can move these guys to. The Knicks looking to re-up. You know what I'm saying? What if they don't get KD? What if they don't get Kawhi Leonard? What if they don't get Kyrie Irving? Maybe that's a landing spot. Charlotte, they might lose Kemba Walker. Maybe you can swing Blake or Andre down there. But the idea isn't to get back value. The idea is to get a clean slate. The idea is to get a clean slate. It ain't, oh man, we ain't get an all-star back. It ain't about that. It's about being bad, you know what I'm saying, and building it the right way from the ground up. Yeah, you might draft and be in the top 5 and get a Markelle Fultz and get a Nerlens Noel or top 7, whatever it may be. But hey, if you keep drafting, you might get a Ben Simmons, you might get a Joel Embiid. You know what I'm saying? You might get in there and get something. Just because the Boston Celtics didn't get Lonzo or who else was up there? Who went before, or who the fuck was with Lonzo? I can't remember who went number 1 with Lonzo. Damn. Was it Ben Simmons? Oh, Markelle Fultz. I'm stupid. Just because you didn't get Markelle Fultz and Lonzo, don't mean it wasn't a Jason Tatum there. You know what I'm saying? And also, it's other trade possibilities as well, too. You look at the Phoenix Suns, okay? This is a team I want to talk about. You look at the Phoenix Suns. All those young guys over there, you know what I'm saying? From Devin Booker to DeAndre Ayton to Kelly Oubre, who might get a huge contract this year. You know, the kid from Philadelphia that got traded over there. I always forget his name. I'm looking at his face, but he went to Villanova. He had a solid year. Josh Jackson dying over there. Dragon Bender, he over there dying. They got a lot of young talent over there with Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Phoenix might want a Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? Phoenix might want a Blake Griffin. All those young guys, hold on, go give me a talented Blake Griffin. Whatever contract they got over there that's bad, you take it. Or they might have a cap space. You know what I'm saying? Facilitate a three-team deal. I like Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson is not productive in Phoenix, and sometimes you got to look at why Josh Jackson isn't productive. When uh when Devin Booker's on the floor, and when they had who was the other guy they had? Man, they had Book, and they had another guy over there. T.J. Warren was another guy. Like T.J. Warren, always injured though. When T.J. Warren and Booker on the floor, with Josh Jackson is ineffective. What you looking for with the Pistons is a ball handler, a guy that can handle the ball, that can facilitate, and that can defend. And eventually, Josh Jackson's jumper, it'll come through. And he from here. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, his jumper is going to come back. It's going to come to forward. I think he's going to work hard enough. Josh Jackson will be a perfect Detroit Piston. He can defend. He can handle the rock. He can trade. He can facilitate a little bit. I like Josh Jackson. Okay, what if you get Josh Jackson, T.J. Warren, and maybe a future first and second, down the line, and they say, and however the salaries match up, you get Blake Griffin to Phoenix. I won't be mad at that. Yeah, T.J. Warren is the player that we talked about drafting. I'm talking about bringing here, but he just kept getting injured last year for Reggie Jackson. They might want Reggie Jackson. Maybe they say, you know what, we give you T.J. Warren for Reggie Jackson. He in a contract year. We have paid a salary cap. We have re-up with Kelly Oubre. They looking for a point guard depth in Phoenix. And they may draft Ja Morant. They're going to draft Ja Morant over Zion Williamson because they need a guard. Perfect sense. I believe Ja Morant is the best player in the draft. That's my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? And also, Josh Jackson can play a little bit 4. He can play the 3. He can play a little bit of point 4, a little bit of 1. He provides defense and versatility. Yeah, the jumper is something we got to work on. But then again, we building with young talent. The goal is sports is a young man's game. Most of them. Sports are a young guys' game. Some guys are old enough to play it on an intellectual level and still have their physical ability, but that's what you want. Okay, I'll get rid of Blake Griffin, send him to Phoenix. Hey man, he close to LA. He close to his baby mama and all them, whoever he got going on over there. It makes sense to me. Run up and down the court with them and do whatever he got to do. He can help Book out and learn how to be the winner. Cool. You look at the Miami Heat. Josh Richardson is another guy that's built in the mold of. He's built in the mold as Josh Jackson. Jackson is a lot taller. I think he's a little bit longer, a better defender, but Josh Richardson can play. I believe they got a hell of ceilings. It was a Richardson, Kelly Olynyk, which is a good fit for Detroit. It's a big guy that can stretch the floor out from the 3-point range, and he can put the ball on the floor a little bit. I like Josh Kelly Olynyk game. And there was another guy they was trying to give us too. Derek Jones, high flying guy. His dunks will put asses in the seats. All right. And then they trying to throw Deion Waiters, which will make our cap jump by 3. I'm not sure about Deion Waiters' contract. I think it got 1 or 2 more years on it. If it's an expiring contract, why the fuck not do it? So it's a way to suck and still have hope. Either one of those trades, you suck and still got hope. You got Josh Jackson. He was number 4, 3, 4, 5th pick in the draft. You tell me you flip Blake Griffin for the number 3, 4 pick in the draft, and the only reason he not productive because he the 5th, 6th option on the team. You got Josh Jackson playing the 4. I watched some of the Phoenix games. That coach was stupid. They fired him. Then you got Oubre out there. Then you got the kid from Villanova out there. Then you got T.J. Warren when he healthy. Then you got Devin Booker. Then you got DeAndre Ayton. I mean, of course, you come here and tell Josh Jackson handle the rock. I mean, to be honest, Josh Jackson and Andre Drummond would be nasty together. But then again, you want to move Andre Drummond, right? Now you're talking about moving Andre Drummond. That's gonna be tough. I always thought that Boston could use Andre Drummond. A big body guy that can do what Baines do, but at that price, never know. Another team that can use Andre Drummond, depending on what their situation look like, Karis LeVert, D'Angelo Russell, both free agents, is Brooklyn. Obviously you see with Jared Allen over there. Is his name Jared Allen, the kid with the fro? He too light in the ass to deal with Joel Embiid. Now we know Andre Drummond a little mentally weak, but if you put him with Kawhi or Kevin Durant over there, or both Kyrie and Durant, or both Kyrie and Kawhi, I believe Andre Drummond will have a different mentality. But Charlotte can be interested in Andre Drummond, especially if Kemba Walker walk. Oh, Atlanta is another place. They can't live off Alex Lynn and Deadman. So yeah, I mean, in Atlanta, I mean, who would you get back from Atlanta? Do you like the Prince guy? I like the Prince guy over there. Ken Bazemore contract should be coming to an end soon. He another 3-and-D guy, good guy coming off the bench. It's ways to build your team up and still be semi-competitive. You guys coming up with some great teams. Atlanta, New Orleans is another team. You know what I'm saying? If Anthony Davis walking, they don't get a big man in return. Why not send Andre Drummond down there? They had a cap room, more than likely. You know what I'm saying? Julius Randle could walk this year. Anthony Davis could get traded. You can't live off Jahlil Okafor. They might look to tear it down next year. I mean, it's a ton of teams. It's probably gonna be one of those smaller teams. Of course, you're gonna get picks back. They probably be future picks, but that's the thing. Malik Facts. That's a huge integral part of that. Who else you got out there? Trying to think of another team that we got out there. Probably nobody in our division gonna want to trade with us. Um, Trying to think. Man. Well, Julius Randle walking. Julius Randle, he gone. I heard he might go to Brooklyn with D'Lo. Is that clear up for him? Oklahoma City, we talked about them. Who else you got in the East? The Dallas is going after Nikola Vujovic, so they won't need Andre Drummond. They just got rid of DeAndre Jordan. That's kind of like the same player. Um, so I mean, I'm not exactly sure all the teams out there. Let me see if I can just put some visuals with it. Put some visuals with it real quick before I get off. I mean, the Raptors. Maybe the Raptors after they lose Kawhi, they be looking to get some other people there. I heard they general manager might leave. The Cavaliers. I mean, maybe they need some talent. They desperately looking for Andre Drummond. I know they might not want to. We might not want to trade with them because we see them like 4 times a year. Um, it ain't a whole lot of choices. Washington, if they buy out Dwight Howard, he only got a $5 million contract. They could easily buy out Dwight Howard. No John Wall. So yeah, the whole idea before I wrap it up about the Pistons is just to find a way to rebuild it, get some young talent here, sell some tickets. I think Josh Jackson would be a great player to start with the rebirth or the rebuild of the Pistons. Obviously, I'm moving Reggie. Obviously, you got to move. I just blow the whole operation up. The Warriors, possibly if KD leave, But I don't think they would want Drummond or Blake. Hold up, Joe D drafted Middleton and did. I think the Stan Van Gundy drafted Dinwiddie. Stan Van Gundy drafted Spencer Dinwiddie. I remember that out of Colorado. Well. Andre Drummond get better year to year. He improved his free throw percentage. He tried to work on the 3-pointer instead of a post game, but he don't get better when he need to. So yeah, Tone Capone right. If we got Clay, that would be huge. Oh, Clay ain't coming to no Detroit, bro. You don't go from northern Silicon Valley to Detroit. So I mean, I just some of those players you could look at, but it's just time to clear the cap space off for the Pistons and start it from scratch. See if you get some big time players. It'd been huge if they tank this year, end up getting Cam Reddish. Don't like RJ Beard. I like John Morant. And also they in a position to get no KT. Who you talking about? Karl Anthony Towns. It'd be great if they was in a position to get Bola Bola this year. I know people say, oh, he's the same thing as Don Maker. Shit. If you get a guy that's a lottery pick and he can fall outside the lottery because of an injury, I'll sit there and let his foot heal. I'll straight sit there and let his foot heal. You know. Yeah. I know Dumars selected Middleton, but I know Van Gundy selected he selected Dinwiddie. I remember that. Bola Bola. Yeah, he like 7 something. He was killing that organ before he messed his foot up. But those foot, or is it foot or leg? Those things tricky to play with taller guys, man. So yeah, I'm not saying that I don't like Blake or don't like Drummond or Reggie, but it's time for the Pistons finally to be like, just blow this shit up. Let's start off from scratch. Let's get some picks. Let's get some cap room. Let's be terrible and let's build it up. They don't have nothing to work with. You look at this situation, you like, damn, we negative 10 million in the cap. We negative 10 million in the cap. What can we do besides bringing a draft pick and hopefully he blow it? He out cold. We can trade Reggie Jackson. But yeah, man. We what the fuck you I mean, you can't do nothing. People say, oh, we get Kimball Walker. Like, nigga, we got negative 10 million. Negative 10. The cap is a mess. And Reggie Jackson make more next year. Blake Griffin make more next year. Andre Drummond make more next year. Now the cap will go up next year. I'm not sure what the number would be. I think we are past in trouble because of Coach Stan Van. Yeah, Stan Van Gundy traded our depth away. Well, I mean, shit. He traded the depth away. They couldn't even afford Kimball Walker if it had to be a sign and deal trade. What can Now it ain't my job to figure out what they gonna do, but they might just go in with the same roster with a rookie next year, in the mid-level exception. Pistons have too much pride to tank. You ain't lying. They're gonna be in the same position next year, if not miss it. D'Angelo Russell, a free agent. Yeah, he just got caught with weed at the airport today. Yep, tried to hide it in a special Arizona tea can and tried to snitch and blame on his brother. But his brother wasn't there to get snitched on, so he didn't get to punch him in his mouth. So yeah, so but he probably be back in Brooklyn, but we don't have no fucking we don't have no money for him. It had to be a sign and trade. He tried to say it was his brother shit. That's crazy. I've been through LaGuardia Airport a few times, man. I ain't trying to bring no weed to New York. New York's strict on weed, guns. New York ain't no joke. The NYPD everywhere in New York. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna go back next month, but shit, I'm gonna go to Vegas. See the Detroit boy Tony Harrison fight. At least that's the plan. God willing, I can make it. Kid graduating, all that other shit. So, I go. Summer clothes and people crying and shit. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get off here. Appreciate it, man. I'm gonna try to get those morning streams in again, man. I'll just be busy, man. I'll be working in the morning. The school bus don't come, drive her ass to school, and then your mama wants something, then you know how that shit go. So I'm trying to squeeze some more morning streams in. I swear, if Maker don't hit the weight room, I'm gonna go crazy. Yeah, he definitely. That's his problem. The weight room. Giannis was Giannis was elbowing and shouldering this nigga into the 15th row. You would thought that nigga was a stunt double for the Avengers Endgame. That nigga need to be on my fucking food diet, bro. Come over to my crib, man. Get some of this fried cod and this roasted chicken, nigga. Watch Gores put the Pistons up for sale. Man, I'll be happy as hell. I wish they put the Lions up for sale. Shit, we should all put our money together, man. I might not like some niggas out here, but we should put our money together and go buy the Lions, though. Real shit. They put the Lions for sale, nigga. The whole city should just get all their money together and buy the Lions. I don't give a fuck if I don't get no return. Just long as Martha and them motherfuckers ain't got it, man. They put the if even if Dan Gilbert ass, but crybaby ass, he bought the motherfucking Lions, nigga. I'll be in the street. I'll be in the street jitting. I'll be in the street ticking and shit, man. Get a cardboard, start spinning on my head and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll be going out cold with that shit, nigga. Man, shit, I don't care if a crackhead buy that shit. Shit, you know what? It's to the point I don't care if Donald Sterling buy the damn Lions. Fuck it. I'll be dancing too. Shit. I don't give a fuck if Donald Trump. I don't give a hell if Donald Trump buy the Lions. What y'all talking about? Long as the Fords ain't got them. Long as man, that's gonna be when the curse is lifted. Watch, we gonna be looking like the Fantastic Four or some shit out there. Yeah, they had to fire Tom Gores to get Billups up here. Billups said, I ain't fucking with it. He told Cleveland, I ain't messing with it. He told Detroit, I ain't messing with it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming in, man. Don't forget, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship. And don't forget, you also check out my other channel, Goodfellas Sports TV. We talk boxing, MMA, NBA, hip hop, music, entertainment, all types of shit. Just check it out, man. Appreciate the love and support from everybody out there. Blessings. I'm trying to get a stream in the mornings coming up. We gone.